Remember listening to Delaware.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Andrew Skroy. Another quick look at the markets. All three major indexes still in positive territory. Dow up nearly 80. S&P 500, that's up 11.5 about. NASDAQ up almost 58 3/4. And on this Wednesday, September 11th, we've been continuing to check in with CBS News' feed of the September 11th commemoration ceremony at New York City's 9/11 Memorial and Museum. They continue the recitation of names. Let's go there now.
Victoria Savetta.
Mark Schwartz.
And my uncle, who I never got to meet, and I'm named after, Nicholas P. Petranti. We will always remember you, Nicholas.
Mark Scara. And my son, Jeffrey Smith. We miss and we love you. We were very fortunate to have him in our lives for 36 years.
Heartbreaking. They're in the S's, and if you recall at the top of the show, I mentioned in 2013, my wife and I took our children who weren't living on September 11th, 2001, but we took them to the memorial. The museum was just months from opening, and I had learned years before that both a Skroy, my own last name, and my wife's maiden name, Metzler, best to our knowledge, not related to us, but the two people with our names perished that day, so we had our children look for those names, and we eventually found them. Last hour, we heard Jill Ann Metzler read here on WDEL, and I think we'll probably miss the gentleman with my last name, but it will be read, and it will be read every year. Joining us in studio is Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer. He joins us every other Wednesday. Matt, great to see you.
Great to see you. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning. You had a few remarks about 9/11.
It's 9/11. It's a day I think certainly many of us stop and pause, think about what we were doing on September 11th. What's the meaning of the fact, 18 years ago today, something dramatic happened in this country that I think changed this country forever. Early in my career, was a teacher through a program called Teach for America. Mm-hmm. The teacher next door to me was a woman named Hilda Taylor. She had come a couple decades earlier from Sierra Leone, from West Africa, had kind of come on her own and made it in America, had become one of the most successful teachers in Washington, D.C. schools. She taught a very strong sixth grade class. She was teaching in a school with primarily lower income kids. She got involved with the National Geographic Society and got kids the opportunity to travel and really see not just the country but the world. Mm-hmm. And on September 11th, she was, along with Bernard Brown, her sixth grade student, on Flight 77 that hit the Pentagon. So every morning on September 11th, I wake up, say a little prayer for Bernard, for his father, who was actually working at the Pentagon, believe it or not, was a soldier working at the Pentagon on September 11th, and Hilda and her family.
Well, I didn't know you were going there, but I'm glad you did. And that's, I think, why it's so important that we never forget and that we continue to commemorate this every year, because it touched all of us. I mean, we really are one degree of separation.
It did. This morning before I came over here, I was at Del Tech. Del Tech, they every year do a run from their Stanton campus to their Wilmington to their George campus, an 8-mile run. Cool. This year, 12 faculty, staff, and students ran, including the president, Mark Brainerd, the president of Del Tech, ran, and they do it to bring attention to soldier suicide. 22 soldiers have died on average every day since September 11th. And so hats off to them for doing that, for bringing that to our attention. And before that, I was at Delaware Military Academy, who annually have a really, really moving event that's led by the students, which is vitally important. Sitting there were probably close to 1,000 people in the room. The students who were there, the overwhelming majority, probably except for a few, weren't born on September 11th. The Del Tech students I was with, certainly most of them probably don't really remember September 11th. I think it's really important that we get out there, tell our stories, tell the stories. It's so great that you took your kids. I mean, I think about dramatic historical events that helped shape our country that I wasn't alive for, and how do I know about them and care about JFK being shot, or D-Day, or things in the Civil War, or things that made our country what it is. The I Have a Dream speech. I think it's through people telling stories and making sure that people know this is what makes our country what it is. So tell those stories today. Do it every day, but today is a special day, Patriot Day, to get out there and do it.
Well said. We're opening the phone lines this half hour, and it'll go quick. We obviously have an agenda to run down, as we always do, but we want to take your calls. So by all means, give us a call, 302-529-1017, 302-529-1017. You can also text us, 56221, if you don't want to be speaking on the air, 56221, and text your question for Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer. The PACE signing. Your continuing success with your green initiatives.
Yeah, we announced 7 green initiatives 3 weeks ago. We got 2 of them passed right away unanimously by County Council. The first was concerning the landfill. We've spoken about that. The other was something called PACE, which is a program that makes it much easier for companies that own properties, commercial properties, to deploy solar, wind energy, geothermal energy, alternative energy sources for their buildings. It's a very important step in terms of getting an increasing number of energy sources that do not use fossil fuels. So it's real important. The Sustainable Energy Utility, Energize Delaware, Tony DePrima, Senator Harris McDowell were really key in making it happen, along with Councilman Tim Sheldon, Councilman Ken Woods, and Councilwoman Dee Durham. So great job there. It was real exciting to sign it yesterday.
And it's great for commercial properties.
That's right. There are other programs for residential. What it basically does is it makes it so that there's a problem on properties that if I own the property and I sign to take out a loan, what happens if next week or next year or in 5 years I decide to sell the property? The lender is kind of stuck because so this enables the loan to run with the property. So if you come and want to buy that property, you understand you're buying it subject to this loan, which enables you to get energy on the property.
Very neat. Swim with the Sharks. Tell me about this.
Yeah, it's really important in terms of creating jobs here in Newcastle County that we're not just looking outside the county and outside the state for jobs, but we're looking right here and making sure the people that we have here are starting businesses right here. It drives me nuts when you have someone that grew up here that goes outside of Delaware and starts their great business somewhere else. I also want to make sure the small businesses that are here are growing here. So in collaboration with the great Newcastle County Chamber of Commerce, we have a program where startups and companies can pitch for the opportunity to win a prize package worth over $13,000 in cash and services. There are all sorts of sponsors: Small Business Administration, Harvard Business Services, the Williams Law Firm, World Trade Center, Delaware, and more. If you're interested, go to nccinnovates.com, I should mention TheraV, which is, we've been doing this a couple of years now. TheraV, a past winner, used the funds for what they needed to launch and promote their pain treatment businesses to improve the quality of life for amputees. So some of these businesses are great. They create jobs, and some of these businesses are not only great and create jobs, but they also do some good in the world.
Yeah, without question. 13,000. I mean, that's a nice...
Yeah,
boost.
I mean, you got to have a serious business. It's competitive, but we want to make sure that entrepreneurs who are here and small business people who are here and want to grow here are supported.
Are there actual sharks that they must make their pitch to?
That is, or is there any swimming involved?
Yeah, it is called Swim with the Sharks.
Swim with the Sharks. I don't think it might discourage applicants if you think we actually have to swim with the Sharks. So there is no swimming, and I assure you it will be a little less painless than swimming with the Sharks. Hey, before I forget, Faerie Fest this Sunday.
I know.
I don't like to say which Newcastle County event is my favorite, but Faerie Fest is extraordinary. When I first heard about it a few years ago, I went and I was expecting to see 45 girls dressed up as fairies. There are more like 6,000 kids, teens, adults, seniors dressed up as fairies, pirates, a whole bunch of stuff. So,
how did that get started?
That is a good question. I'm pretty sure it came as a result of county staff just being creative and thinking a little outside the box. People come from all over. There'll be all sorts of cool free activities: hula hoop, face painting, bounce house, art on the rocks, story time, Pixieland, Tinkertown, crafts, performances by Delaware Arts Conservatory, First State Ballet Theater will be performing, Dream Chasers, gymnastics, Stage Stars Dance, and acro. So there's a lot going on. Free admission, 12 to 4 p.m. You can park at the Rockwood Office Park, which is on 501 Carr Road, and the event is at Rockwood Park.
Excellent. Is there a shuttle from?
Yeah, there's a shuttle from 501 Carr Road.
Yeah, that's a bit of a haul. A pretty walk, but
yeah. But it's like big if it's a shuttle, they're going to be there. So come on out with your sons, daughters, or even just you're hanging out and not sure what to do.
Yeah,
as an adult, come on out.
Perfect. I find it hard to believe that nobody wants to ask the county executive a question. I mean, he's opened up the phone lines. It's something he doesn't do every time he visits. So take advantage of it. 302-529-1017. You can text us as well at 56221. And we'll look forward to receiving those questions. But there's a few other things we'll talk about beyond the break. You're listening to Del Aware, my guest in studio, as he is every other Wednesday, Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer. Back in a moment.
Is Del Aware. News and issues for the First State.
Welcome back to the program. We got a text for Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer. We'll get to that question in just a second. You can also text 56221, or you can quickly call, since we're in the last segment of the program, 302-529-1017 if you have a question for the county executive. Let's check in with the recitation of names at the 9/11 commemoration ceremony.
Felicia Yvette Trailer Bass.
Michael Angel Trinidad.
Mary Barbara Trentini.
Gregory James Trask.
Karamo Baba Trera.
William P. Selepez Jr.
Francis Joseph Trombino.
Michael Patrick Tucker.
Willie Q. Troy.
Ching Ping Tung.
Zanetta Valentinova Soy.
Donald Joseph.
Rejoined with Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer. Matt, that's going to be pretty nerve-wracking to read names that you might not
pronounce right.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the 9/11.
Because you want to do justice. Obviously, we missed the recitation of the Scroy who perished. I wonder if they got it right, because people rarely do.
Scroy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's good that they do read those names. The question on the text board is, why aren't there more charging stations in Newcastle County?
Why aren't there more charging stations? It's a good question. We just about a month ago started installing charging stations at Newcastle County government facilities.
Okay.
There's one at our main office at Government Center. There are 2 charging stations there. I should say that a government employee came to me and asked if you can charge there for free, can we get free gas as well? So hats off to the creativity of employees.
Another fair question.
Yeah, fair question. But we're not charging now. I think a number of the state government charging stations do charge. We're just sort of monitoring it, and if need be, we will start charging for those stations, and we're looking to install them in other county facilities. So I think it's important. I think all across the county, the state, the country, we're building out a network to transition to vehicles fueled a different way. I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. I think ultimately we should be charging people, because if the fuel tax is eventually going to be phased out with more and more electric vehicles out on the roads, it would behoove, state and local governments to charge.
Well, if there's a cost, really the cost for us is increase in electricity bill. If there's an increase in our electricity bill, that I don't want that to fall on the taxpayers. Whoever's charging it, you got to pay.
Yeah.
No, my understanding it's generally considerably less than the cost of gas.
Yeah, probably. So. County tax payments.
That's right. Tax payments are out. They're due September 30th, as I've made clear from day one in my administration. I pay my taxes. I know Andrew Scroy. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure Andrew Scroy pays his.
I do.
I know that
we escrow, so we make it real simple.
It's done automatically. But I know most, if not all, listeners pay their taxes, and so if you don't pay, we're redoubling our efforts to make sure you do pay.
Yeah,
we're taking it really seriously.
And you have.
We have
in your administration.
That's right. Yeah. We've generated millions of dollars of additional revenue, and for the schools, mostly actually, for the county, for the public safety officers, for our parks, for our libraries, and also for our sewers.
Yeah.
And so, in addition, this year, for the first time, we're putting any code fees. So if you have code violations, traditionally you can ignore them for years and years and years, and they just kind of pile up, and you don't have to worry too much about violating code, and maybe it becomes an issue if and when you ever decide to sell your property. But now we're putting them on your annual tax bill, and you gotta pay up, or of course you have a right to appeal. But if you don't appeal, you need to pay up, or we will we will use the law to make sure you pay what you owe us.
So those code violations are payable upon receipt.
That's right.
With the county taxes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So. And I should also add, my finance people will probably get mad at me for saying this, but we work with people. If you're in a rough situation where you have to show us hardship, we listen and we're willing to work something out. Ultimately, you do have to pay, but we're willing to work with you.
Farmers markets, it's winding down here in the
community. They're not winding down. Now's the best time, better than ever. When you think back to when you were at that farmers market just 6 weeks ago, and it was so hot, and the kids are screaming and running around. You just want to get out of there. Now is the time. The leaves are falling. It's so beautiful. The weather is perfect. Only in Newcastle County, so I would not suggest other farmers markets, but open at the Route 9 Library till October 2nd. Open at Cool Spring Park in Wilmington till October 3rd, and Carousel Park, because it's so popular, we go all the way till October 25th, so you can even stock up on Halloween goodies a week before Halloween.
That's a home game for us, and I have to tell you, my wife and my son have biked out there. We live right across the street, and they have made it I think they've gone a handful of times this summer. It's become kind of their Friday afternoon tradition.
Fantastic. And Carousel, I mean, all our parks, but Carousel this time of year going into September, October, November is stunningly beautiful.
Yeah. Well, nobody, other than our one texter, and thanks for your text, nobody hit us up, so we'll have to do it next time you're in as well. No doubt there are questions on people's mind, and you're always welcome to pitch them to me, A. Scroy. Good luck spelling it. No, it's ASGROI at forevermediainc.com. To close the show, I know you're a big Phils fan. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, Blue Rocks, huge game tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Game 2 of the Mills Cup. They're in the the global Carolina League champ. If they win this, they will be the only Carolina League champion in the world. The Phils got a tough road to haul. They won last night. 4 home runs inside the park.
Yep.
Kingery.
I think it was 5 home runs.
Oh, was it 5?
Yeah.
Inside the park.
Yeah.
6 runs total, right?
Yeah.
They won 6-5, and hopefully tonight they'll hit 5 more, and pitching will hold up, and we'll be holding the pennant in a few weeks. So.
Meaningful baseball in September. That's all you can ask for. Newcastle County Executive Matt Meyer, my guest in studio. I thank you for joining us today on this somber, reflective day. I'm Andrew Scroy, and now you are Delaware.
WDEL Wilmington, WDEL FM Canton, WSTW HD2 Wilmington.
WDEL, Delaware's News Radio.